Every day, Russia strikes Ukrainian cities. Every day, it destroys homes, businesses, and energy infrastructure, takes Ukrainian lives, and tries to deprive us of the right to determine our own future. But this war is not taking place only on the front line or in the skies. It is also being fought through technology, data, and the software that thousands of Ukrainian companies still rely on. As long as Ukrainian businesses remain dependent on Russian products, that dependence remains embedded in our economy, our business processes, and our digital infrastructure. For decades, Ukrainian companies built their accounting, trade, warehousing, manufacturing, and management processes around one BAS, Bittrex, and other systems of Russian origin. Once, this seemed familiar and convenient. But today, habit can no longer serve as an excuse. We cannot speak about technological independence while leaving the very heart of a company inside the ecosystem of an aggressor state. We cannot invest in the Ukrainian armed forces, support Ukrainian manufacturers, and help cities damaged by war, while at the same time keeping our businesses for years on software products from a country that brings new destruction to Ukraine every single day. That is why switching to Ukrainian software is no longer simply a matter of choosing one system over another. It is a matter of business maturity, responsibility, and strategic security. It is a decision about who owns your data, who sets the rules for your company's development, and on whom your updates, support, integrations, and the future of your information systems will depend. K2 ERP is being developed as a Ukrainian technology platform capable of becoming the foundation for genuine digital independence for business. Finance, accounting, warehousing, CRM, manufacturing, document management, HR, project management, training, service, analytics, and many other processes can all operate within one system. A company no longer needs to assemble its work from dozens of disconnected services, transfer information manually, duplicate data, or try to understand the business through countless fragmented windows. K2 ERP brings processes together into a single system where customers are not lost, documents do not disappear, tasks do not remain hidden, and managers can see the real state of the company. But the true advantage of K2 ERP lies not only in the number of modules it offers. It is a platform that can evolve together with the business. A company changes, and so do its processes, structure, requirements, legislation, logistics, markets, and sales models. That is why a modern ERP system should not be a frozen piece of software that a business is forced to adapt to for years. It should be a living technological foundation capable of quickly adjusting to new challenges. In K2 ERP, data structures are created using clear and visual models. Developers and analysts can see tables, fields, and relationships graphically instead of searching for logic inside a tangled database. Forms, directories, documents, and other system components can be created quickly on the basis of these models. Business processes are described through BP models, where approvals, checks, automated actions, notifications, and routes become clear even before launch. This means less manual work, fewer errors, and a much shorter path from an idea to a fully operational solution. K2 Update makes it possible to deliver new features and fixes to cloud, test, and server environments in a controlled manner. Updates stop being a dangerous manual ritual after which everyone is afraid to open the system. Instead, they become a clear technological process: development, testing, packaging, deployment, and version control. The metadata exchange system also makes it possible to transfer models, reports, settings, and other developments between different clouds. What has already been created and tested once can be reused in other environments without repeating the entire process. For large companies and corporations, it is important that K2 ERP supports a multi-level management structure. A corporation, a group of companies, individual legal entities, branches, and departments can each have their own settings and permissions. General rules are defined at the highest level, subsidiary structures inherit them, and local administrators receive authority only within the branches for which they are responsible. This makes it possible to preserve unified standards without sacrificing flexibility or turning the management of a large structure into chaos. K2 ERP is designed to be cross-platform. The system works through a browser, supports Windows, Linux, and Mac OS, and can be used on desktop computers, laptops, tablets, and smartphones. Mobile and offline solutions are also being developed, so critical operations do not have to stop because of an unstable connection. A cash register can continue operating offline, data can be stored locally for a time, and once the internet connection is restored, it can be synchronized with the main system. A business must be able to continue working even under difficult conditions that, unfortunately, have become part of Ukrainian reality. The open architecture of K2 ERP makes it easy to integrate the system with Power BI, ClickView, Tableau, Looker Studio, and other analytics platforms. The database structures of the modules are available in graphical form, so analysts do not need to spend months trying to understand where the required indicators are hidden. Data becomes transparent, understandable, and ready for reports and dashboards. K2 ERP can also integrate with logistics, payment, document, and communication services, including Nova Poshta, Ukrposhta, Murashina Logistics, Vchasno, MEDoc, banks, payment systems, telephony, email, and other platforms. OpenAP is webhooks, import, export, and real-time data exchange make it possible to include the services a company already uses within a single digital business environment. Another major advantage of K2 ERP is its clear and manageable database architecture. In older systems, the structure often turns into a maze of incomprehensible tables, duplicated data, artificial dependencies, and complex mechanisms that make every integration or modification risky and expensive. K2 ERP is built on a different principle: logical relationships, normalized data, graphical representation of models, and openness for analysis. This is not simply replacing one program with another. It is rejecting an outdated way of thinking about corporate data. The system supports multiple languages and can be easily localized for international markets. Language resources are stored separately, translations can be updated centrally, and users or organizations can work with the interface language they need. A Ukrainian product should not remain limited to Ukraine alone. It should enter European and global markets, create jobs, generate foreign currency revenue, and prove that Ukraine is capable not only of defending itself, but also of building competitive technologies. Artificial intelligence can be used in different areas of K2 ERP. AI assistants can answer users' questions, find the necessary data, and suggest the next actions. Documents can be automatically recognized, classified, and completed. In CRM, artificial intelligence can help managers work with leads, prepare responses, and analyze communications. In finance, it can detect anomalies, explain deviations, and support forecasting. In warehousing, it can predict inventory levels and future demand. In manufacturing, it can analyze workload and potential risks. In HR, it can assist with training, knowledge bases, and information processing. But the core principle remains unchanged. Artificial intelligence does not replace people, and it does not replace ERP. It strengthens the team's capabilities, helps people work with information faster, and supports more accurate decision-making. Open source code gives companies greater control over the system. A business does not remain hostage to a single vendor, one team, or a closed technology. Partners, integrators, industry experts, and clients' internal IT teams can all take part in the system's development. One partner can create a logistics solution, another can focus on manufacturing, and a third can develop tools for retail, construction, or agriculture. This creates an ecosystem in which every new solution can accelerate the development of the entire platform. The transition from one CBAS and other Russian systems should not happen chaotically. It is a controlled project. First, the old databases and business processes are analyzed. Then directories, documents, balances, and historical data are transferred. The old and new systems can operate in parallel for a certain period while the team checks the results, learns, and gradually moves into the new environment. A business should not have to stop operating because of migration. On the contrary, the transition should create a foundation for future growth. A company can keep postponing the decision for years, citing complexity, habit, or fear of change. But time does not work in favor of those who remain trapped in the technological past. Every year, older systems become more expensive to support, more difficult to integrate, less attractive to new specialists, and more dangerous in terms of dependency. A planned transition is always easier than an emergency migration carried out under the pressure of restrictions, risks, or discontinued support. Today, Ukrainian businesses must make a choice. Continue depending on products from a country that bombards our cities every day, destroys businesses, leaves people without homes, and takes Ukrainian lives, or invest their effort, money, and expertise in their own technological independence. Rejecting Russian software is not a symbolic gesture. It is a practical contribution to a stronger Ukraine. It means supporting Ukrainian developers, analysts, consultants, universities, and technology companies. It means new jobs, taxes paid into the Ukrainian budget, the development of our own engineering school, and a reduction in critical dependence on the aggressor. We cannot change the past, but we can decide which technologies we will use to build the future. A future where Ukrainian companies work on Ukrainian platforms, where data is controlled by the business owner, where the system evolves together with the company, where Ukrainian developers create products not only for the domestic market, but for the entire world. K2 ERP is not simply a new piece of software. It is an opportunity to move from dependence to control, from closed systems to open architecture, and from outdated logic to a modern technology platform. It is time to reject the software products of the aggressor. It is time to support Ukrainian technology. It is time to build our own digital independence. It is time to switch to K2 ERP.